All right. Shalom, family. It's your brother Kanaiba coming at you once again with this video titled Self-Examination and Accountability. Justpearlythings interview with Brittany Renner. My critique from a spiritual vantage point. A lesson for young ladies. Okay. So, here recently, the YouTuber Justpearlythings, she just had I believe it was a podcast / interview with Brittany Renner. Okay. And upon looking at this interview, you see certain things going on with Brittany Renner. Okay. And some people may say, I never thought I'd see the day. But, I believe she's 30 years old now. And, she's around that age where sometimes a lot of women come to different realizations. Okay. And kind of reflect on the way their life has been thus far. Okay. And I have to admit, looking at this, there is a certain level of self-examination and accountability that she's actually taking. Okay, which is more than I can say for a lot of women. Right? So I'm not really going to begrudge her, but what I want to do is I want to actually go over a certain segment of this interview. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. It'll be too long. But I want to get into the part, around the time where she starts talking about body count. Okay. And we're going to see this realization that she actually comes to. All right. And this is going to be a learning lesson for, the younger ladies, seeing everything that she's done in her youth and the regrets that she now has. All right. So with that, let's actually get into the video. Okay.
They have no desire they don't want to know your favorite color. They don't give a shit. So why do you want them over top of you? Mm-hmm. Again, that's come from feeling used up. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's why the used goods comments, they sting. Because you know what? There are times I felt like that. I feel like the new toy that now is unexciting.
Now, off rip, I want to deal with what she just said. Okay. She started off by talking about how, these specific guys that she's dealt with in the past, they don't want to know her favorite color. Now, what she's really, really saying is these men don't really want to get to know you on a deeper level. Okay, it's all simply physical. It's just sexual. That's what she's saying right now. They don't really have the best intentions for her. They don't want to get to know her, right? Then she went on to say that the phrase used goods actually stings because she's felt like that. Right? She says she feels like the new toy who's the new toy whom is now boring. If my memory serves me correctly on what she just said. Now, again, what does she really mean by that? Right? That new toy is dealing with that new shiny thing. This is dealing with the outward appearance, right? And what she really means is there's a lot of new girls that can come around the corner that look just as good or better than her. And a man may see that. And if this thing is simply based on appearance and the physical, he could lose interest in her and go after the next shiny new toy, speaking metaphorically. Okay. So now let's actually go to the scriptures and let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, let's take a look at this. All right, so going to the scriptures. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 30, or chapter 31 and verse 30. And it reads, it says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth Yahweh shall be praised. Now let's deal with the beginning of this verse. It says favor is deceitful. Now, a lot of the favor or attention that women like Brittany Renner gets simply based or solely based on their outward appearance, that's deceitful. And this is the realization that she's coming to, because she knows that these men don't really want to get to know her on a deeper and more intimate level. They don't have the best intentions for her. Their intentions are not long term. Okay, that's what she's starting to realize at this point in her life. Okay. And again, the verse goes on to say, and beauty is vain. That's why she made that analogy about the new toy. Okay, that pretty much the new toy that men get bored with. Okay, so again, she knows that beauty is vain because there's a lot of other new shiny toys that's out there that can take his attention away from her, because his intentions weren't long term to begin with. Okay, so this is really what she's going into. Okay, looking at this from a biblical, a spiritual perspective. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to the video.
And put away in a box. So I just have to accept what I've done and move forward with this awareness, and just know that, okay, the guy that most likely, that I'm not looking for a husband, I'm looking for my husband, and there's a difference. That guy is going to be a very small percentage.
All right. So what Ms. Renner just said is, she has to accept what she's done and move on with that awareness. Okay. So there is a bit of accountability there, because she knows that she's done something wrong, or at least something that has consequences, or that she has to take responsibility for. Okay, so I'll at least give her that. But then she goes on to say that the guy that will most likely be her husband, or the type of guy that will most likely be her husband, is a small percentage. Okay. Now, you can take that many ways. One could say because she's been with so many guys, she's been imprinted by a specific type of guy. Okay. And that specific type of guy is the only guy that she would accept. Now, I don't think she means it that way, though. The way that I interpreted what she just said is because of her past, right? Because of the type of past that she's had, and especially that book is really what ruined her. But because of these things, there's only a small percentage of men that will accept that will accept her and the past that she's led. That's actually what I got out of what she said. Okay, because she knows that most men who knows her sexual past and all the men that she's been with, and the quite loose and wild things that she's done with these men, the average man won't accept that. And it's only a small percentage of men who may be willing to look past that. Right? So I believe that's actually what she was getting at. And she knows that it's going to be a lot harder for her to actually find an actual husband, somebody that will actually take her seriously and for the long term. Okay, so that's why it would behoove, you younger sisters to take heed to the life that she's led. Okay, because like I said, I believe she's 30 years old and now she's come to this realization. Okay, so let this be a learning lesson for you younger sisters. Okay, so let's get back to the video.
And I'm okay with that. I'm at peace, and I'm at peace with the things I've done. But I will say, moving forward, like talking to any girl, to you, and whoever's listening, it's like you really should think about why you're doing what you're doing. Really think about, why am I attracting that? What part of me is resonating with a guy like that?
And those are very interesting questions that she just asked. Okay, she said, moving forward, talking to any girl or Pearly herself, she would tell those girls to ask themselves, why are you doing what you're doing? Okay, and you can look at this in different ways. So I'm going to look at it this way. The reason why girls tend to try to lead this type of provocative life, okay, is a lot of it has to do with social media, okay, following what other women are doing, okay, and that's something that you really don't want to do. Again, as Israelites, we're supposed to lead a set apart life. Okay, and had Brittany Renner done this, she wouldn't be in this mess right now. Okay, so as Israelites, we have to be set apart from what the world is doing. Okay, because if you lead the life that the rest of the world is leading, again, there's consequences. There's consequences to those actions, as we're seeing right now. Okay. Then she went on to pose the question as to, why are you attracting what you're attracting? Why are you attracting the types of guys that you're attracting? Okay. There's a famous saying out there, dress the way that you want to be addressed. Okay. So again, if you want a certain type of attention, you have to be aware of how you're presenting yourself. Okay, I would start there. And if you want to get on a deeper and more spiritual level, okay, there's two ways to look at this. Okay, so we're going to look at two different verses, then we're going to get back to the video. Okay, so let's take a look at this. All right, so going back to the scriptures, I said we were going to look at two different verses, but actually it's just this one verse. Everything I need is in this one verse. Okay. So this is Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus chapter 26 and verse 23. And it reads, it says, a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man. Now let's stop here. Now remember, she posed that question. She said, why are you attracting that type of guy, and why are you resonating with this type of man? Okay, so again, starting from the top, it says a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man. What you have to understand is a lot of times we attract what we are. Okay, so if you're attracting a certain type of man, and this man is no good, sometimes you have to look in the mirror and say, okay, what's wrong with me? Why am I attracting this type of person? Could it be that it's something in me that they resonate with? Okay. Is it, like attracting like? Okay. Because contrary to popular belief, I don't believe that opposites attract. Okay. We clearly see that in this verse. Opposites do not attract. You attract what you are. Okay, a woman is supposed to be a reflection of her man. That's what we're seeing here. So the verse ends by saying what? But a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. Okay, so, a lot of sisters that have that good husband, that righteous husband, that's what those sisters are. Okay, so it's time to have a moment of reflection if, for the sisters that may be in the same boat as Brittany Renner or a similar boat. Okay. But again, you attract what you are. So if you don't like the outcomes that you're getting thus far, as far as attracting a mate, then maybe it's time to do some self-reflection. Okay? But anyway, let's get back to the video.
If you have all these complaints about him, what's resonating with him? Really analyzing what you're doing. That's what I would suggest.
So because in my head, like, why wouldn't you avoid this? If you could go back, you wouldn't avoid the situations. Because I thought in the beginning you said that, like, you wouldn't change it because of the wisdom you've acquired. But to me, it's like, oh my God, if I knew what I know now, like, I probably would have waited till I was married.
And that's a very good point that Pearl just made. Okay. The concept of waiting for marriage, well, as Israelites, we know that it's sex or the consummation that actually truly makes you married. Now, again, there's a process and order to it, but ultimately, that consummation, that the sexual part, that's what actually makes you married, right? But the point is, waiting, not testing the waters. Okay, especially as Israelite women, that's not what you were created to do. Okay, test out the waters, test out this guy, that guy to find out what you like. No, that's not it. Okay, you were supposed to be with one man your whole entire life. Okay, so let's go to the scriptures. Let's take a look at something real quick. Okay, so getting back to the scriptures, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23 and verse 17. And it reads, it says, there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. So let's take a look at this. Now, it says there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel. Now, this is not me coming after her, talking about Brittany Renner, but again, I can't sugarcoat when it comes to the scriptures. Okay, but this is not me coming after her. This is me making a point. Okay. Again, you're only supposed to be with one man your whole entire life until death do you part. Okay. And I don't think sisters really understand, the importance of this title, a daughter of Israel. That's not a light thing. That's a title that holds a lot of weight. Okay. It's a very high title. Okay. And again, the scriptures tell us that a good name or a good reputation is to be desired above gold and choice silver, roughly paraphrasing. Okay. So you can apply that to this particular title, the reputation or the name of having that title of a daughter of Israel. Okay, you're a princess. You're not supposed to be going around living this provocative type of life. Okay, that's just not what it's supposed to be. All right. So I understand what Pearl is saying here. Okay, to actually wait, not give yourself to all these different men. Okay, it's only supposed to be for that one special man, which is supposed to be your husband. Okay, talking about your body, it's only supposed to be for that person. And I'm speaking to you Israelite women, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay. And just as a side note, notice how in the same verse it talks about there shall be no sodomite of the sons of Israel. It's just funny how in a society where you see, whoredom grow amongst women, here in this society, homosexuality has grown at the same rate as well. Okay, so that's why there's a spiritual connection between the two, whoredom and homosexuality. That's how you know the scriptures are true, right? But not to get too far off topic. So let's get back to the video.
No, I get that. And I understand that. I think that I have a very influential voice, and I have grown to be a voice for women who have gone through what I've gone through and experienced what I've experienced. And although I can't speak for the majority because my situation still isn't even average, right? And I'm aware of that. But my voice is important, just like your voice is important. And that's why I would not want to change anything, because I don't know what this is a very tough spot to be in, right? Because you're figuring it out. You have people who are also trying to figure it out. And it's like, I'm needed in this space.
And therein lies another problem. Okay. Notice she said, speaking about women, she says that she's trying to figure it out and other women are trying to figure it out. Okay. Because Pearl just asked her a question. Pearl pretty much said if she had the wisdom that she has now, back then, she would have waited. But Brittany is saying she probably wouldn't change anything. So she goes on to say that, she's trying to figure it out and other women are trying to figure it out. But guess what? That's not how it was meant to be. Okay, women were not meant to just be thrown out there to the wolves to figure it out on their own. Okay, and that there lies a very big problem. Okay, there's no order. Okay, so now, again, let's go back to the scriptures and let's take a look at this. Okay, so opening back up the scriptures, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 7 and verse 24. Okay, now this is dealing with fathers, right? And it reads, it says, "Hast thou daughters? Have a care of their body, and show not thyself cheerful towards them." Now, the beginning of this verse tells us, for the men who have daughters, it says, have a care of their body. Okay. Now, again, I don't know Brittany Renner's situation with her parents, with her father in particular, but had she had the righteous father that all Israelite women need, he would have had a care for her body, and she wouldn't be in the situation that she's in right now. Okay, a lot of people, this was a while back, but a lot of people were upset with the way that the rapper T.I. dealt with his daughter and her virginity. Okay, now some people may say that he may have went to the extreme. Okay, one could argue, but his intentions were right. Okay, and I don't begrudge him for what he did. Okay, but again, a father is supposed to have care for his daughter's body. Okay, that body count is not supposed to be going up and up and up and up. That's just not the way a daughter of Israel is supposed to be. Okay, so that's why having fathers in a girl's life is so important, and him having care for her body. Now, we live in this wicked society that likes to say, well, that's the patriarchy and that's men trying to have control over women's sexuality. Well, okay. Well, when men don't have control over women's sexuality, look at what it leads to. It leads to situations like this with Brittany Renner. Okay. So, and again, the end of the verse talks about not being cheerful towards them. It's just simply saying you have to be a pillar of authority. Your daughter is supposed to look at you as an authoritarian, the authority in her life. Okay. Not saying that you can't smile with your children and things like that, but again, they have to see you as a source of authority. Okay, somebody that you can't cross that line with, so to speak. Okay, they have to look at you like that, so they'll know. Okay, that daddy is not somebody to play with. Okay, and they'll live up to those expectations that you have for them as your daughter. Okay. So now let's move forward to the next verse. And this is verse 25. Now here's the point that we're going to drive on. Okay. It says, marry thy daughter. Talking about giving her away to a husband, right? It says, marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter. But give her to a man of understanding. Now, I believe I used this verse in my last video. Okay, dealing with how beautiful is a mind well instructed. I actually used this verse, and now I'm going to use it again. Okay, because what was the statement that Brittany Renner just made before we went to the scriptures? She said that I'm trying to figure it out, and other women are trying to figure it out. And I said, well, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Women were not created to just be thrown to the wolves to figure it out on their own. Okay, that's why the father is supposed to be involved in the process of a woman finding a husband. Okay, now if you really want to get ancient with it, he really would choose the suitor for her. Okay, but I'm a realist. I understand that we live in a society where that's just not going to happen, in this kingdom. Okay. But at the very least, we need to get back to the fathers being heavily involved in that process of a woman finding a husband, and the daughter actually having a high reverence for her father to the point where she respects his opinion and his outlook on the man that, she fancies. Okay, so if we would have this type of order, we wouldn't have these situations that Brittany Renner is in. Okay, but again, this society that will say, oh, well, now that's that patriarchy, that's that evil patriarchy, just still trying to control women, when in fact, what this is protection. The very patriarchy that a lot of these bug the hell out feminists like to speak against, it's that very patriarchy that actually protects women from other men, from bad men, and it protects women also from themselves. Because a lot of times when women are left to their own devices, they tend to destroy their own lives. Okay? But enough of my rant. Let's get back to the video. Okay?
Because my voice guides those women that you guys talk about, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why I wouldn't change it, because there's a greater picture. Even in like I told you, my last relationship, had the Bentley, had the house, had the kid. And it wasn't enough.
So in other words, the material things wasn't enough to actually keep her, is what she's saying. Okay? Again, there's more to a man than just providing material things. Okay? Now, not saying that, is anything wrong with material things, but that's not the sole focus, and it shouldn't be enough to keep you as a woman. Okay? Again, a man is just not supposed to be a source of just providing you material things to simply keep up with the Joneses. Okay? I believe it was, again, in my last video, I said that one of the aspects of a man, as far as protection goes, is teaching. Okay, we don't talk about that enough. You have to have something to teach a woman. Okay, and you brothers don't underestimate that, having that wisdom. Okay, the right women, they actually appreciate a man that actually has something to teach her. Okay, and like I said in that video, on the flip side, it's a very attractive trait for a woman to have a mind that's willing to learn. Okay, and I'm sure if you flip it again, again, women are attracted to men that can teach them something. Okay. People don't understand that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is a great, what do you call it? Aphrodisiac. Okay. Trust me, it is. Okay. When you read the scriptures tell you that, talks about how a man of wisdom, he shines. Okay. A lot of times, I know I've experienced it before, but women will talk about how you have this aurora about you that they just can't quite put their finger on, okay, that they're drawn to. Well, again, that's that light shining from you, the wisdom that you may have as a brother, okay? So, again, that this should tell you something, okay? Brittany Renner has been around men with, money and material possessions, and it still wasn't enough to actually keep her. She wanted something of more substance, something deeper. Okay, so keep that in mind, you brothers and you sisters too. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to the video.
Okay, so it may be a small percentage of us women who feel this way, but I feel like that's the voice that I represent.
Oh no. Oh no, there's a large percentage of
women. Okay. Well, I don't know.
They're predicting that 45% of women will be single and childless by 2030.
And that number is actually bigger than that. Okay, I believe it's supposed to be slightly over half, slightly over 50% of women that's predicted to be single and childless by 2030. To the point where investors are already doing their research on what they should invest in based on those facts. Okay, because as we know, women are the biggest consumers on the planet. Okay, so knowing that most of them are going to be single and childless, or over half of them by the year 2030, they're already trying to make their investments. Okay, as I believe Pearl is about to point out.
So much so that big banks are investing in like cat food, wine, like things that go with like single women.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, big percentage. So I feel like my voice does matter to navigate through this space for them.
So it's like, again, it's such a small percentage of men that you're like looking for now.
I know.
Yeah. How do you want to navigate that, like moving forward? Do you even want to date like right now? Because so I know some people when their kids are young, like just don't want to date. How do you like feel about that?
I think it has more to do with where I'm at emotionally, and it's not even like a jaded thing, right? It's more of I know my value.
Again, I'm not coming after her, but the sad thing is she should have understood this value from her youth up. Okay, it's sad that it took her to get to 30 years, not even 30, I want to say 29, okay? Because I believe here in a minute she's going to say she started having this epiphany a year ago, okay? So around 30 years old, it took her to this point to come to this epiphany to, realize that, she had value. But here's the sad thing, okay? Now, in retrospect, from a man's point of view, her value has now plummeted. Okay, it's now dropped significantly. Okay, this is why body count matters so much. Okay, with each man that you sleep with, that value continues to go down. Okay, you have to understand something. The Most High doesn't give us laws just to give us laws, or because, he doesn't want us to have fun and things like that. There's wisdom to it. The law is wisdom, okay? And it's also to protect us, okay? You got to understand, imprinting is a real thing dealing with women, okay? Each guy that you sleep with, there's an imprint, okay? If his DNA is left in you, that's a part of that man's spirit. And a lot of times you don't understand why a lot of women tend to seem like they have multiple personality disorder. Okay, it's because of the different men that they've slept with, and now they've taken on the spirit and the personality traits of all these different men that they've been with. And it's not just, spiritual thing, science, I believe, has backed this as well. Okay, so again, yes, as a woman, you have to understand your value. Okay, how precious that value you have. Okay, that's why in ancient times a woman's virginity was so precious, and it was one of the highest things to value within a woman. Okay, you are only supposed to be with one man your whole entire life. Okay, but anyway, let's let her finish what she's saying here.
I can have one conversation with a guy now, and I know exactly what he's about. So most of the guys that have presented themselves in front of me just want to fuck me. I'm not interested in that.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? She's saying now she can have a conversation with a guy, and she knows what he's about just off of one conversation. And she says that most of the men that present themselves to her, they just want to sleep with her. Okay, and again, that's why I said it's the sad part about this is, she says she understands her value now, but like I said, to men, that value has now plummeted. Okay, it's dropped. And that's why she's only getting these men that just want to sleep with her, because that's the only value that they see in her. And, not to take away any accountability from her, because this is the way that she's presented herself. Okay, what she's coming to the realization of is, because remember, she ended by saying, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm interested in. She's not just interested in sex. Okay, you got to understand that feminism has fed women lies. Okay, they've told women that being sexually liberated, being able to sleep around the same way that men do, so to speak, is going to be fulfilling to them. That's what they should want to do, test the waters. But now you have a woman that, has been known to be sexually liberated, who's known to be, the type of woman who's very promiscuous. Now she's come to this epiphany that that's not what she's interested in. She's not fulfilled being the type of woman that she's portrayed herself as in the past. Okay, like I said, I don't totally begrudge her, because she's coming to some type of point where she's doing self-examination. That's why I named this video the way that I did. Okay, she is having some type of self-examination, and she is taking some type of accountability, even if it's not to the point where you think that she should. There is some amount of accountability coming from her, which is more than what I can say for a lot of women. Okay, so I do commend her at least for that. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to the video.
And I'm going to keep an open mind, and I'm going to keep an open heart. But I know by how a man approaches me, how he speaks to me, I know that there's that he wants more with me. It is just, I know. So that's where I'm like, I'm not going on dates right now. I'm not talking. I don't have somebody that we talk every few days, every day. I have no masculine energy besides like my family, our family friend Jerry. I have no masculine energy in my sphere, in my bubble.
And this is a part of the issue, madam. Okay, this goes back to my original point. Okay, you don't have that masculine energy around you. Do you know what that masculine energy is that you need? This goes back to the verses that we read in Sirach chapter 7. The father having care for his daughter's body, that's that masculine energy that you need. That masculine energy produces what's known as protection. Okay, that's the masculine energy that you need. The father vetting the men that are suitors for you. That's the masculine energy that you need. That masculine energy does not let, their daughters just be thrown out there to the wolves. Okay, you lead and you guide your daughter. You protect her from those types of things, these wrong types of men. Okay, in the ancient world, in an upright society, you wouldn't even be out there living on your own. Okay, you would leave directly from your father's house. Then you would go straight to your husband's house. There wouldn't be a time period where you're living on your own. Okay, that's really off. Okay, but that's that masculine energy that women need, but it's lacking in this particular society. Okay, but let's get back to it.
Because I think I focused on men and just dick in general for a very long time. And now I'm just going to get to the business. I understand that the window, the percentage, it's changed a lot from when I was 22.
Did you happen to hear that? Okay. The window or the percentage of men, that, she really had to choose from has now changed since she was 22. Remember, she's 30 now. Okay. And that percentage has now changed. And again, feminism has done women a true disservice. Okay. See, feminism has now confused women. Women don't understand the difference between a man's sexual attention and a man's intentions. Okay, those are two totally different things. A man can have sexual attention for you, but he has absolutely no intentions for you at all. Okay, he's not looking at the long run. He's not looking at long term. He's only looking at short term fun. Okay, and because women who are physically attractive, such as Brittany Renner here, they get so much sexual attention. They think that sexual attention is going to be there longer than what it is, or they believe that equates to, men will have good intentions for them for the long run. And it doesn't mean that. Okay. And again, this is why she needs that male energy there to help guide her so she'll understand the difference between the two. This is the trick bag that a lot of women are in right now. They don't know the difference between the two. Okay, but this is the epiphany that she has now come to. Okay, and unfortunately, it took her to about 30 years old to come to this. Okay, that's why I said women have to be taught this, and they need to learn this, from their value from their youth up. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to the video.
So all I can do is kind of equip myself financially, take advantage of the opportunities I have now to set myself up. Because I can't rely on a man and someone coming to save me. I can only save myself.
So in other words, she pretty much realizes that she feels she's now blown it with that type of man who really truly would have provided for her the way that a man is supposed to. Okay. Not just the material things. Yes, that too, if he had it like that, but truly providing for a woman, the way that you're supposed to. Okay. Food, raiment, roof over your head, providing for the children, for the family in general, and again, teaching her and protecting her that way, those type of provisions. Okay. That type of man is not looking to come and save her now. Okay. Because of, the type of past that she has, unfortunately. So now she's in survival mode, and she's saying now she can only, depend on herself, which is unfortunate. Okay. But again, to you younger ladies, you got to understand that the actions that you take when you're young, they have consequences or repercussions, when you get older. Okay, so you have to use Miss Brittany Renner here as an example, okay, of, what not to do. All right. But anyway, let's get back to the video.
So that's why dating is not a focal point, but I'm not like turning guys away that actually want to get to know me, like the real me, not just want to fuck me and say all the right things and fuck me, because I can see through that too. So I just use discernment now, where I'm like, no guys even really try to talk to me, like, or I should say, no guys that.
It's like, I don't.
No. Of course, guys. No. I'm saying, of course, there's guys in my DM, like random people.
Yeah.
But guys that I would be interested in, there's really nobody trying to talk to me.
So in other words, there's not guys in her DMs that actually want to take her seriously. Okay, there's not guys in her DMs that actually want to make her a wife. Okay, that's what that translates to. There's only guys in her DMs that actually want to sleep with her. Okay, but again, that's the way that she's presented herself most of her young adult life. So she's painted this picture of herself, and that's the only picture that guys see. Okay, they don't want to actually get to know her on a deeper and more intimate level. Okay, and that's actually what she's looking for. Okay, but unfortunately, that most of the guys that's in her DMs or that's trying to talk to her, that's not what they're looking for. All right. But anyway, I believe this is actually a good place to end the video. If you want to watch that full interview, of course, you can simply look it up on YouTube. Justpearlythings and her interview with Brittany Renner. Okay. Now, the title of my video is Self-Examination and Accountability. Justpearlythings interview with Brittany Renner. My critique from a spiritual vantage point. A lesson for young ladies. Okay. So, of course, we went over this particular interview. And as we saw, there's certain realizations that Miss Brittany Renner has come to now that, she's a little bit older. She's still young, but she's a little bit older now. She's 30 years old. Okay. And, the type of life that she has led, in her youth, from pretty much her early 20s up, it has had an impact on, where she's at now, and actually, finding a man that will take her seriously. Okay. And that's why I said you could tell that there's a certain amount of self-examination that, she's had. And, there was a little bit of accountability. That's why I said, I commend her for that. Okay. And, hopefully she'll come all the way around and completely change her life. I don't know if she will. Lord willing, she will. Okay. And if she does, as Israelites, we should not begrudge her for it. Okay. Because, we all have a past, no matter what that past is, and just because she's had this particular, provocative past, the scriptures tell us that, we are all a new creature in Yahweh Shai. This is if she actually comes into the knowledge. Okay. As far as brothers go, a lot of us come from different pasts. A lot of us gangbangers, drug dealers, ex-cons, things like that, or maybe even worse, but we should afford people the type of grace that we've been given as well. Okay, remember, Yahweh Shai, he sat amongst the publicans, sinners, prostitutes, and everything else. Okay, those who are whole, they don't need a physician. That's what the scriptures tell us, right? You have to also remember the situation with the woman who was taken in adultery. Okay, she was caught in the very act. The Pharisees wanted to have her stoned, but Yahweh Shai showed her that grace, right? He cut the Pharisees. They had to drop the stones. And what did he tell the woman? he told her, go and sin no more, right? So again, it's how we have to deal with one another, the same way Yahweh Shai dealt with that woman and, sinners in general, okay? Now, I'm not saying that Brittany Renner is coming into the truth anytime soon, but I'm just saying in general, we have to have that type of understanding and grace for one another, okay? So with that, and as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High Yahweh, which is the name of the Heavenly Father. And of course, I do so in the name of our Lord, our King, and our Savior, Yahweh Shai, the only begotten Son of the Heavenly Father, whom the world knows as Jesus Christ, right? And I want to thank all you brothers and sisters for tuning in. I hope this video was informative and edifying. And until next time, Shalom, family.